Hey Jaguars, Miss Paris. I have a story for you today from A to Z Mysteries, The Jaguar's Jewel by Ron Roy. I'm going to read one chapter today and then I'll get back to you guys next week and see what happens next. So let's get started. The Jaguar's Jewel by Ron Roy. Chapter 1. Dink spread the note on his knees and read it out loud. Dear Nephew Donnie, I am so happy that you're coming to visit. You and your friends are going to love New York City. I will meet your train at 4 o'clock on Friday at Grand Central Station. Love, Uncle Warren. Josh giggled. He calls you Donnie? Yeah, Dink said, blushing. But if you ever do, I'll tell all the kids at school your middle name is Carol. But my middle name isn't Carol, Josh said. Dink flushed an evil grin. So, guys, I think we're there, Ruth Rose said. The train slowed. Suddenly, the bright sunny day vanished. Everything outside the train windows turned black. Hey, what happened? Josh cried. Dink laughed. We're in a tunnel, Josh, he said. Don't worry, Ruth Rose, and I will protect you. The train slowed even more, then stopped. New York, Grand Central Station, the conductor called. Last stop, all passengers off. The kids grabbed their backpacks and followed the other passengers to the door. Watch your step, the conductor said. He helped the kids hop onto the platform. They found themselves standing in the concrete tunnel. The dust and soot coming up from under the train made Dink sneeze. Where do we go? Josh asked. My uncle said he'd meet us, Dink said. Maybe we should just wait here. All around them, people were hurrying along the platform. Dink stood on tiptoe, but he couldn't see his uncle anywhere. Is that him? Ruth Rose asked. She pointed to a short man in a gray suit. He was pushing toward them through the crowd. Dink jumped up and down and waved. Uncle Warren, here we are! Uncle Warren Duncan had white hair and a big smile. He carried an umbrella and wore a red carnation in his lapel. His eyeglasses twinkled in the underground lights. Donnie, welcome, he said, beaming at the kids. How was your train ride? Are you hungry? We're fine, Dink said. The train was great, and Mom packed sandwiches for us. Splendid, Dink's uncle gave him a big hug. And whom do we have here? He asked, peering through his round glasses. Josh and Ruth Rose, Dink said, my best friends. Marvelous, Uncle Warren said, shaking their hands. Now, let's go find a cab. Follow me. Uncle Warren marched up a long ramp with the kids right behind him. A moment later, they entered the biggest room Dink had ever seen. Hundreds of people bustled in every direction. A deep voice announcing train arrivals and departures echoed over the loudspeaker. Piles of luggage were heaped around the gleaming marble floor. Try as he might, Dink couldn't take it all in. Uncle Warren said, This is Grand Central Station's main terminal. Look up! The kids tipped their heads back and looked up and up. Gold-painted stars and animals danced across an emerald green ceiling. This is so awesome, Josh said. Look, there's a bull and a goat. Taurus and Capricorn, the zodiac signs, dear boy, Uncle Warren explained. Now onward. Uncle Warren marched them toward an exit. The kids followed him out of the building. The street outside Grand Central Station was a shock to Dink. His ears were blasted by horns honking, brakes squealing, music blaring, and food vendors shouting. Welcome to the Big Apple, Uncle Warren said. He waved his umbrella and whistled. A yellow cab zoomed up and screeched to a halt, inches from Uncle Warren's shiny black shoes. Uncle Warren yanked open the rear door. In, youngsters, in, he cried. They had barely sat down and shut the door when the cab lurched back into traffic. Here's their picture outside of Grand Central Station, getting in that cab. in the busy streets of New York City, or as they call it, the Big Apple. They're a good ways away from their normal town of Greenlawn, aren't they, guys? Where to? The driver asked over her shoulder. Number 340 West 110th Street, Uncle Warren said. He turned to the kids. We'll stop at the museum first, he said. I'm expecting a shipment from South Africa. Dink sat up as the driver zigzagged her way up a wide avenue. With his nose to the glass, Dink watched thousands of cars, taxis, buses, bikes, and people dodge one another. Even through the closed taxi window, he could feel the throbbing pulse of the huge city. 20 minutes later, the cab 20 minutes later, the cab hurtled to a stop in front of the building made of white marble. Here we are, the driver said. Uncle Warren handed a few bills to her. Keep the change, please. Thanks, mister, the driver said, smiling into her rearview mirror. Uncle Warren and the kids piled out of the taxi. This is where I work, Uncle Warren said. He pointed to a small brass sign next to the green door. The sign read the Porter Museum. Dink noticed that it was a lot quieter here. Trees stood in front of the buildings, and a few kids were drawing chalk pictures on the sidewalk. From the window across the street came the sound of someone playing a piano. Suddenly, he heard a voice call out, Warren, hello! Dink saw a smiling man and woman standing in front of a small restaurant next to the museum. Behind them, a sign above the wide window read, La Petite Bistro. Come meet my friends, Uncle Warren said, heading towards the couple. He introduced the kids. And this is John Paul and his wife, Yvonne, Uncle Warren said. Uncle Warren pointed to the sign. These lovely people own the best French restaurant in New York. Hello, the man and woman said, smiling. Nice to meet you, the kids said all together. Yvonne turned to Uncle Warren. It came, she said, a big, heavy box. Foreman carried it upstairs to your office. Jean-Paul reached into his pocket. I went up with them, then locked the door when they left, he said, dropping a key on the brass ring into Uncle Warren's hand. What's in the box? Dink asked. Uncle Warren winked. Nothing much, he said. Only priceless gold. And here is them meeting at La Petite Bistro. Well, I'm going to leave you guys hanging. We'll have to find out what is in that box at Uncle Warren's museum office. And I hope you guys have a great weekend.